Okay, we're live. Can you all hear me now? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thanks for your chat and thank you for responding in there. Okay. So we are live. Perfect. Okay, welcome, everybody. And thank you for dropping that in the chat group. I'd love to see who's come out today. So for any of the attendees, I'd love to know where you're from. Drop, if you're an optician, OD in the chat group and where you're located. That'd be awesome to know. That way I can tailor some of the content better for each one of you guys today. Amazing. Okay. Great, great, great. So we're going to get started with the presentation and we'll come back. So we're going to go back to here. And so welcome everybody to the Optical Accelerator series. Thank you for joining us tonight for these monthly webinars. We hope that they're action-packed and filled of great value and insights for you to take home to your clinics and locations. And so today's topic is going to be how to grow revenue without being salesy. So optical solutions that convert and delight. But before we begin tonight's webinar, we want to go over any question and answers that you might have had from last week or last month, I apologize. So if you have any questions about how to put those numbers behind your vision, so any challenges there on what goals to set, what is your goal for the next 6 months, 3 months, monthly, how to think beyond that transaction, any creative ideas on taking that from a one sale transaction to a lifelong customer or uncovering different needs for the patients while you're serving them, how to make each month matter. So that's again, back to tracking and making sure that you are looking at the reports and have a way to pull that information so you can make sound business decision so that things are more predictable for you month over month. How to systemize the magic. So we're talking SOPs and processes in place so that when someone is coming into your practice or your locations, your opticals, is the level of service consistent? Is everyone saying the same sound bites, recommending the right solutions in the manner that you have laid out for them? And of course, how to build that why and that purpose-driven profit. So any questions about that before we begin, you can post it in the chat. And if not, then we will begin the new webinar. But again, stop me at any time, post any questions in here. So the whole point here is we want it to be as interactive as possible. And I can see your messages. So if you have any questions, please post that in the chat group. Okay, so for today's topic, we're going to be going over how to grow revenue without being salesy. And so this training really is to reframe recommendations as patient empowerment. The goal is to make every conversation feel natural, confident, and care-driven. Now, I'm just going to stop the slide presentation for a moment because I think this is important. Now, when we're talking about sales, I find it's very, very difficult, especially coming from healthcare. And the reason why I mean this is that there is actually an internal value conflict that we have and this is for all healthcare providers, not just ones in the eye care field, is that, and I'm just going to read a few things I have prepared for you all today is, why do healthcare practitioners feel guilt when receiving money and how to dissolve it? And I think this is really important because if we're here tonight to learn about how to have different ways to have conversation around sales, we really got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's our internal limiting beliefs and our guilt around compensation. And in healthcare, this is very, very common. And this is why it's really hard for us to separate sometimes the business side of the clinical care to patient care. And I really want to help uncover this with everyone tonight. And I want to, and often what we hear is like a kind of tension, like I want to help, but I feel uncomfortable being paid for helping. Like how many of us feel that way? I'm sure all of us do. And sometimes most of us in the field, majority of our compensation can be coming from insurance or from OHIP. And we don't like asking patients to pay outside of pocket for anything. We actually feel guilty. And I know it happens to every single one of us because we truly care about people. And so we're going to uncover 3 hidden beliefs tonight about that guilt around money. And I think this is foundational before we even begin the tactics, the strategy, and the tools that we will equip you with to be successful in this role. So it all begins with that internal belief. So belief number 1, this is helping should be pure, not paid. So many practitioners were trained with a subconscious idea that service and payment shouldn't mix. And it's almost like accepting money like contaminates the purity of the care we provide. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I still struggle with it from the different, each level or each new revenue new revenue stream we bring to our practice. I'm always trying to overcome that. And we're overcoming it together with our doctors and our team. It really takes a lot. And many healthcare professionals tie their worth to being helpful, but not being professionally valuable. So you see, there's a difference there. We want to be helpful, but then we don't value ourselves. So that's another internal conflict that we're consistently living in. And belief number 3, patients are struggling and I don't want to add to their burden. This creates an emotional hierarchy. We think of the patient's comfort greater than our own financial well-being. We're always putting people before us, even when the service delivering for that patient could be life-changing. Isn't it crazy? And so why these beliefs feel so real? Because healthcare workers have moral weight, right? Practitioners carry responsibility, compassion, ethical pressure, emotional labor, the fear of being judged, fear of seeming greedy, fear of disappointing people. And it becomes easy to value patients' comfort more than our own worth. This creates the guilt loop. It's natural. Our day-to-day, we are just trying our best to help people, right? And we fall into this guilt version. And the guilt loop is this is simplified. It's I help someone, they benefit, money enters the conversation. I feel like I'm taking instead of serving. I over-explain because I feel guilty. I communicate too much. I undercharge or I under-recommend. And then I burn out. And then I resent the whole system. Then I feel guilty for resenting it because I should be doing the right thing, right? It's just this crazy loop that we all fall into. And this loop exists until you introduce one critical truth, the mindset reversal. Payment is proof of impact, right? Instead of seeing the payment as taking, we have to reframe this. So these are words that I want you to repeat in your head. Payment is a reflection of the transformation I provided for someone. So healthcare is not an exchange of product. It's the exchange of expertise, of clarity, of comfort, of safety, of relief, improved quality of life, which is what we're trying to achieve for people, and prevention of future harm for people. So patients are actually paying for this transformation for themselves, not for the minutes or your chair time. It's receiving money is not an act of greed. It's actually an act of alignment, right, for that transformation. So we got to get to that space where what we are doing, we truly believe that we are miracle healers, right? They come to us because they're coming for that opinion. Without us, they would not be able to get the solutions to live a better life. And so we need to introduce a 2-window perspective to break this guilt. So you can teach yourself and your team to look through 2 windows. Window number 1, the patient's window. They came seeking for help. They want a solution, not charity. They want to be told what they need is clear and not pressured. And paying, when they pay, they feel they have the commitment towards somebody. They respect somebody's value, not resentment. So it's actually the opposite. When you don't have to pay for a service, often people take that for granted and they don't value the care, compliance is lower, and so forth. Window number 2, the practitioner's window. That's us. Years of training. So we've spent years of training, emotional labor daily, right? It's not an easy job. Responsibility of life-altering outcomes. We are ultimately responsible for these people. Continuing education we have to keep up with. The risk of burnout is real. Sacrifices made for the profession, right? Where some of us have worked 7 days a week, for years, and evenings and weekends. We've made a lot of sacrifices to our own lives, or professional or family lives. And when practitioners see both windows together, the guilt begins to kind of shift when you start to see those 2 different sides So people may not be looking at us the way that we think that they're looking at us, right? And you have to really think of it from that point of view. And you got to replace this guilt with an identity statement. So identity drives the behavior. So you got to move from I feel guilty accepting money to I provide meaningful care and compensation allows me to continue doing it at a high level, right? Isn't that amazing? Like, doesn't that feel great? I'm going to repeat it again because I feel like I'm doing a therapy for myself during this webinar. So I provide meaningful care and compensation allows me to continue to do it at a high level. Like that's where I want to be. And for an even stronger version, receiving payment honors the skill, energy, and responsibility I bring to every patient. And this becomes the emotional anchor. So I won't go too much further, but really that's what I want you to feel is I want you to know that when you are impacting somebody's life and you're providing transformation, how much value you bring to somebody is just how money flows to you. It's just the way the world works. It is the universal truth. And if you're not valuing yourself and you're not providing that value to someone, that's when you're not accepting and you're actually not generating any money. So it's actually not a good thing because you are not providing the best solution for that patient. So just keep that in mind. We don't have to feel guilty about it. We're just doing the right thing. And this is where a foundational mindset, I believe we all have to overcome. So let's begin now the presentation and keep that in mind. I'm just going to get the slides going here. Oops. Sorry, it kind of escaped on me. Okay, I think I need, oh, there we go. Okay, so there we go. We can begin. Okay, so what you'll walk away with tonight. So after all that mindset is clear and we all know that we're here and we're really just trying to find better now scripts to convey really those transformations for patients. Tonight you're going to be able to walk away with those clear scripts, simple packages, non-salesy recommendations, confidence talking about costs, transparent patient communication, and a unified team approach. So the real reason we hold back is, of course, I don't want to seem like I'm selling. So this is that common belief we all have as healthcare teams. Even my front desk team has this underlying belief. And it really prevents patients from hearing the solutions that can improve their lives. So today's goal is to replace that belief with the new one, which is recommendations, right? All our job is to do is to recommend what we know, what we have in our toolkit for care. And why patients deserve that recommendation. So every patient walks in. I've shared this before. We have patients that have complex needs these days, and it's our job to figure out and uncover those needs and those problems. And so each day they walk in with digital eye strain, with headaches likely, myopia progression, some contact lens discomfort, untreated dry eye or MGD. I mean, there's a lot of problems that people have. And so these are the issues that really impact comfort, productivity, and long-term eye health. And our job is to bring solutions forward so patients can choose what they know doesn't exist for them. That is really our job. And you have to remember, so not recommending is really the opposite of care. So withholding recommendations removes a patient's choice. And this is a very big problem. And I think we're not aware of this. And you won't be aware until somebody tells you or leaves you a review, or they tell somebody else, hey, I went to this doctor and I got this amazing dry eye recommendation, and I went and got the treatment and it's fantastic. Well, why didn't my eye care doctor talk to me about that? Again, you don't know what people are saying. And I'm here to tell you, you can never underestimate that. So you have to really be listening. You really have to stay current and be able to provide these solutions for patients. And it's our job to uncover those needs as well and to ask. And even for the optical recommendation world, my doctor recommended, Stellest. I'm just going to throw something out there. Stellest glasses for me. Oh, my doctor did not even talk about, Stellest or myopia management, or my optician didn't even talk about it. You know what's happening here? Why didn't they tell me last year when my child's prescription was growing? Why didn't they put more emphasis on it? Like, I'm getting these patients in my chair, and so I'm telling you, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect. There's probably things that I'm missing too. But we have to make sure that we are understanding that there's so much opportunity and there's a lot of gaps in how we operate. And we have to always be looking at that, figuring out a way to optimize that and refine that so that we're better helping patients. And transparency and clarity will always build trust with that patient. So patients actually very much appreciate being informed, even if they decline, right? All you have to do is state what's there, what you recommend, and leave it up to the patient to decide. It's as simple as that. But what you don't say and what you don't recommend will not even get done off the get-go. That's the problem. And so here's a framework we're going to introduce tonight. It's called the CARE framework. And so this is a framework that you can use to be able to better connect with patients. So the first is the C, and it stands for connect. A is for assess, R is for recommend, and E is to educate. So this is your structure for every patient conversation. You can break it down. So if you have difficulty having these conversations with patients, if you're saying, I'm recommending this, but nobody's going for it, like, it's because you're probably missing one of the 4 things in this CARE framework. And this takes pressure off your team. Once you have these frameworks laid out, there's no need to sell. You can just follow the steps. It's very simple. And it can build trust naturally because you have really good speaking points and sound bites to speak to your recommendations and solutions. So the first one is connect. So you can ask lifestyle questions, right, to understand how the patient uses their eyes daily. So you can have these connecting questionnaires laid out on a piece of form, laid out on a little sheet at the front desk where your team can practice these. The first one, do you spend more time on screens, driving or reading? How do your eyes feel usually by the end of the day? How are your current glasses? Are they working for you or for your routine day to day? Any concerns? Connection, it covers that emotional why. So now you're giving somebody an opportunity to really tell you what's bothering them. And so once we get that emotional response, I really am this is really bothering me. Now you've opened them up to the next conversation, right? So now they're ready to begin. So I've been told in sales, there's different ways. There's different ways that you can present this kind of information. The best, there's salespeople that recommend and start with just products and features. So imagine if a patient came in and right away I was told, oh, what are you looking for? Oh, just some glasses. Okay, well, we have a great $99 special here going on. Let's go. Do you want to go take a look at that first? Okay, but they didn't even take the time to really connect with me about my emotional why. They're just speaking right to the benefits and the features, right? So, that's a way, but I still don't think it's great. The second most best sales people are ones that can build on the emotions, which is fantastic. They figure a way to connect, which is one of the first piece here. They sell to the emotional need. Are you worried that your eyes might be drying out? Okay, we can provide a solution to that. And what we'll really get to is the best salespeople provide a transformation for that patient's life. So a transformative solution or experience. So how can your life be better? And you do that through stories, through story sharing. And I'll share with you, that is the last part of the CARE model. So just wanted to go through that framework so that we're all kind of understand the differences between the different tiers of sales and how you can understand why somebody's really good at, closing them in the chair and why you're getting a bunch of no's maybe when you're explaining something. Maybe you're over explaining it. You're taking too long. Maybe you are just speaking to the benefits and the features. For example, I'm going to share myopia management because we do a ton of this and our doctors really struggle with this because they're probably speaking about the features. Well, this is what I recommend because studies show that it reduces risk of macular glaucoma, glaucoma, myopic maculopathy, and cataracts. patients don't want to hear that. That just seems like an odd feature. Like, what does that really mean? Versus there's other people that say, this is what I recommend. It's my job to make sure that your child's eyes are healthy in the long run. And this is the best solution I recommend for you, Susie. Do you see how that's a little bit different and how someone's going to trust me when I say something like that? And I'm putting the onus and the responsibility to take care of this person's child. So very different ways of saying it, and it really does matter. Words are very powerful, and we'll come through that. We'll go through that again in the end. A is the assess. So once you've connected, you can do an assessment. So you can tie their lifestyle answers into clinical needs. So we talked about digital eye strain. So your eyes are feeling heavy by the afternoon. You know, this kind of lines up with digital eye fatigue, right? Since you're on screens all day, your eyes and lenses are designed, your eyes need lenses that are designed for digital comfort. This establishes you as an educator and not a salesperson. So see how that's different? You are speaking clinical terms. You are diagnosing their problem and providing that assessment right on the spot. So you have now become the expert and the educator. And this is what people are coming for. So once you've connected, you've figured out, asking some lifestyle questions, what it is that's bothering them, any concerns, how their eyes are feeling in the day, how are their eyes with contact lenses. You can make an assessment. So based on, you wearing your contact lenses for 12 hours a day, it sounds like your eyes are drying out. And they're fatiguing. Maybe we can recommend this Energys product, contact lens that's great for digital eye strain, and it can also make your eyes feel a little bit less tired and uncomfortable throughout the end of the day. So tying the assessment into the solution is a really key factor. The light bulbs kind of go off at this point. The third is R, it's to recommend. So when you have a recommendation, and if you have a 2-option rule, this often works really well when you're dispensing. You can offer a simple lens package, and then you can have a premium upgrade. And so this keeps the choices clean. People can pick one or the other without overwhelming the patient, and you can guide them based on what solves their problems best. So here's an example. So you can have, for example, your regular package, which could be your clarity package. So this can be for screen users, students, and professionals. It provides your anti-reflective blue light filtering hydrophobic coating. This is what I recommend for those digital eye strain. This might be your package, right? Or you might have an anti-fatigue in there. This is just an example. So based on your screen time and the strain you mentioned, the clarity package gives you sharper, cleaner vision all day. Okay, this is an option. But for patients who maybe, they express, I want the best, I'm really tired, my eyes are really important to me, I spend hours on the computer each day, you may suggest, I recommend the premium vision package for your vision. And people really will go for it. So if you don't have these different tiers, again, you've chosen for the patient. You haven't given them, what's good and what's best. And these better products are out there in the market. So it's up to you to come up with that package or to have those lens recommendations and then be able to know how to recommend that when someone is coming to you and they're expressing that their eyes are very important and they feel very fatigued and they're on the computer at work all day and they really need their vision. So this is where you can have a premium version, which will include the anti-fatigue or high index lens, right? It'll include premium AR. It'll include blue light filtering, maybe some hydrophobic coatings. So this is how you can kind of have the 2 different packages. So for someone who mildly complains about it, you can have a normal package. For somebody who complains that their vision is very important, you can have the premium package. And for our team, we never choose. We always recommend both options. So we have, as I mentioned in our clinics, in past webinars, we have different diagnostics like an exam and then a health and wellness exam or scan. We always recommend it to each and every patient. That way, someone does not feel that we've chosen for them in that, why did someone recommend this and they did not recommend it for me? Because believe me, it will happen. And it's happened. I've had patients come in where we didn't have a product running in one of the locations for some period of time. And she was really upset that no one recommended a certain option for her because we didn't have the equipment in that one location for a period of time. So people do, it does matter. And so you have to think of solutions as to ways around. But if you are offering something in another clinic, just be mindful to make sure that you are being consistent and consistent across all employees as well. That everybody in your clinic, in your optical, is recommending the same thing. The last one is to educate through storytelling. And this is where that transformation really begins. So you want to really bridge in the problem, why it matters, and then the visual cue and an outcome. So here's an example. So you mentioned your eyes feel heavy by 3 p.m. You know, that's a classic digital fatigue. Premium AR and anterior fatigue lenses help most people feel clearer and less strained within a week. And you really want to tie this into like a story. Like, most people feel this way. Most people, after they receive these glasses or lenses, really feel a whole lot better, because once you tie it into a relatable and that you've done this and you're providing some sort of transformation, like, oh, I want to be like those other people too, who get a lot of relief and recovery through this product. You're providing that transformation through storytelling. So always find a way to relate it back to somebody that you've helped, someone that you've seen really benefit from that, because then they build trust with you. I do this a lot with my myopia patients. You know, when patients ask me in the beginning, when I didn't really know and I didn't have very many patients, yes, I was hesitant, but so were my patients, right? So when I was suggesting myopia management, I would just give the statistics. Like, it was horrible. I would say, you know, well, statistics show it's 69% reduction in progression over time. Okay, well, what does that even mean, right? Like, to somebody, when I'm throwing these statistics out there, it doesn't mean anything. Then I learned how to change that language to, you know, this really can reduce the prescription over time. If Susie is -3, imagine she might end up, let's say, -6 or 7 based on these curves. When she's in her 20s. So instead of it being that high, we can reduce that number by half. So maybe she might only end up a 5 or 6. So layman terms. And then when they ask me, you know, how well does this work, I always knock on wood, and it says it works for mostly all of our patients. As soon as we start treatment on contact lenses in particular, progression really does halt. And we see very little progression over the years. If anything, maybe a half over 8 or 10 years. Like, it's that crazy good, the results. So, but I have a story that I can relate it to. So once I've done that, patients are bought into it, and they understand what can happen for their children and their outcome. So storytelling is very, very important. And how to talk about cost without feeling salesy. Okay, yeah. Let's go to the next one. Without feeling salesy. So how to talk about price. So in the beginning, and still, whenever we have a new doctor joining us, they don't feel comfortable talking about cost. And so we have it set up where our front desk is very, very well trained in talking money, price, and costs. So I ask that the associates just talk about the treatment, recommendations at least, and then our front desk just follow up with front desk. They will talk about the costs. If you don't have that luxury and you're just yourself, you know, here are some tactics that you can use. And actually, this is what I do now is I close people in the exam chair with my treatment options. I don't have to task anymore because I feel more confident after I've done it so many times. But you use calm, factual language. You could present pricing after value has been established. So I would never begin my story with, I recommend myopia management. You know, it can be very expensive, $2,000 to $3,000, but it is a very good option that I recommend. As soon as you talk like that, you've lost the person. You haven't talked about the benefits. You haven't connected. You just spoke about price and you said it was expensive. And that's the first thing they're hearing. And you just, whatever you say after will never work. So after you've gone through the care framework, the next example, you would then introduce pricing at the very end. And sometimes patients ask me, I sometimes don't even talk about price. I just talk about the benefits and, you know, and at the very end, they ask me the cost before I even have the opportunity to tell them the price. And so here's the option that fits your needs best. This one option is, I'm just making up numbers, $800, and it helps you with your child with the myopia management that you mentioned earlier. And so you kind of tie it back to them. This is going to help what you mentioned with the problem that you were having before. And empowerment language. So this is very important to use instead of sales language. And I would take a screenshot of this if you can, or take a picture. These are really good, I think, sound bites and understanding for replacing what you shouldn't be saying and then what you should be saying. This is the kind of stuff I like to train my front desk with. We have a Slack channel, and so I'm always posting stuff in there for them to stay up to speed and really try to find a way that they're understanding and learning on a more real-time basis. And so here's some things and suggestions and words that you can use. So replace saying you should get this. Do not use these words. Replace that with, based on what you shared, here's what will help your eyes the most. Do you see how, like, even when I said it, I felt more confident. I felt that the words were more empowering versus, these are the glasses that I recommend, you should get this. No, it sounds terrible. Based on what you shared, here's what will help your eyes the most. It's more articulate. It means that you've thought about it a little bit more. The words are connecting with the individual a little bit better. So words really have power. And so I really highly recommend memorizing a few of these scripts. Replace, this one is more expensive. I hear it all the time. It's not something that you want to hear, especially in sales. Instead, replace it with, this one gives you the biggest improvement in clarity and comfort. So not this one's more expensive. You're going to explain your clarity package gives you the biggest improvement in clarity and comfort. Replace, do you want this? I've seen people just, they're kind of rough in their language, and they'll use these words, and they'll say, do you want this? You don't want to say that. Instead, you will say, would you like the standard option or the upgraded version that reduces fatigue? So a little bit just more finessing to the words can really go a long way. And we can probably spend hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and months on this. And I thought it would be cool to build a custom GPT for you all tonight. So this is actually a custom GPT that I've built, and I've spent a ton of time learning AI. I've sat on numerous webinars, paid webinars and mentorships in AI and how to build custom GPTs. So this was something that I thought I can offer to you guys today, and I'm going to post it in the chat group. See if that works. So you're going to copy and paste that and open up a browser, and it is your custom script generator. And these are the tools that we use, or that I'm working on using with my office to utilize. So when I'm trying to figure out how to communicate or how to provide a script that I want my front desk or doctors to use, I'm consistently using AI, right? We don't have to reinvent the wheel with scripts and copy. This is where AI is very, very good and better at us than doing. And so this a custom chat GPT is like a bot that you can use, and feel free to use it for anything that you have in your practice. And if it's not giving you the answers right away that you want to hear, so it's based on the frameworks that we've trained it in the back. We've set it up in the language model that we want you, that works best for the type of scripts that we want to produce. If you don't like what it says, all you have to do is reprompt it. So I just want to ask in the chat group, has anybody used AI yet? I hope everybody's using it. If you haven't, yes, if you haven't, I'm going to make you download it on your phone. You need one downloaded. I've heard recently that the Gemini is outperforming the chat GPT. So I haven't switched and done the jump yet, but I'm excited to try it. I've heard it's far better than ChatGPT. But there's so many different models that you can be using. There's Perplexity, there's Cloud, there's GPT, there's Gemini are kind of the four big ones. Perplexity is really good if you're doing more research kind of, articles and you want to reference stuff, but GPT can do that for you now too. But I've heard Gemini is amazing for image creation. So pictures and videos, it is phenomenal. So any of your marketing that you want done, you can just put a few, words in there and it'll generate a really amazing product for you. But yes, awesome. So you guys have all been using AI. Awesome. So use that. It's just a quick little bot that you can implement, download it, save it to your GPT on the side, and use it to generate scripts for your new revenue items that you want to be growing for this year and the new year, and have it printed out for your staff to use. That's what I would recommend. And play around with it. It's pretty powerful. Okay. And how to talk about next level of care. So we're always trying to, I mean, you all are on the call today because I imagine that you really care and you're very dedicated and you want to do something different. And so how do we go to that next level, and how do we talk about the next level of care? So, you know, things like that myopia management that we were talking about, or dry eye, or diagnostics that you might have in the clinic, or contact lens upgrades or glasses upgrades. The analogy I have for this one is, you know, you want to build a new house, right? You want to build a new home, and you envision your practice to be this amazing, you know, beautiful, modern, state-of-the-art with all the fancy equipment. But you can't build a new house with the same old bricks, if that makes sense. You can't use the same old bricks. You have to find a new way to build that new home. And this is where change in trying to do things differently really, really matters. And the more action you take and the more that you're willing to try to do something differently is going to get you one step closer to that beautiful vision that you've made. So if you're doing something and you're consistently doing it the same way, always think about, how can I refine and do this better? That's going to get you to your bigger vision and your bigger goals. And especially when we're talking about next level of care. I mean, I push my team. They probably like hate me and they say there's so many changes, but you know what? That's what you signed up for when you're joining our team. This is what I'm about. I'm about pushing. I want to try new things. I want to make sure that we are operating in the space of advanced care, and that we're always trying to stay on top of current knowledge. That's the space we want to operate in. And it's been so amazing because we've been able to overcome a lot of these objections. We've been able to generate revenue that I can invest back into the practice. And so you really have to push yourself, give yourself a challenge, because I know you can do it. Because I can tell you, when I don't focus on it, and if my mind is not focused, nothing, the business stays flat. Okay, it does not grow. But if I put energy into one of these items, like myopia management, dry eye is going to be a very big focus for us in 2026. Because I think we've done well now with myopia management, taking one of these focuses. Now I got to pour all my energy in and really see through to it that you know, the results happen. You just have to make sure you're always following up, that you're passionate about it, that you've declared it's your focus, and you can really start to change and build that new home that you've envisioned. So I have this envision of becoming a specialty dry eye care clinics within our subspecialty practices. So this is what I envision. And so these are some phrases that I'm going to have to teach my team. We're going to be having some training in the new year. And I'm actually hiring outside consultants and help to do this, because I realize if I haven't done it, it's always great to get help from somebody else. And so, and these are some things that we were taught and I wanted to share with you. So you want to change your phrases. So here's what your eyes would benefit from. Here's the next step if you'd like better comfort or clarity. Many patients in your situation choose this. So you want to keep the tone educational and not pushy, if that makes sense. And we'll go a little bit more over this. But you really want to protect your value and your chair time as well. So clear communication really prevents those misunderstandings, transparent recommendations. You get fewer remakes, fewer complaints, more trust. Your expertise has value and patients appreciate direction. And I know the first few calls that we're going to have with our team when we shift to this advanced solutions, it's all about mindset. It's all about becoming the person you want to become before you're even there. So you got to empower that and become that person before you want to relay some new sales topics. So it might be, I want to provide the most high-end optical eyewear. I am a boutique optical and I'm providing, you know, top recommendations for this clientele. Or I am a value segment provider and I want to help as many people as I can and I'm going to be the go-to person. You know, whoever it is that you envision you want to become, you got to become that person first. And then you have to refine your communication, and it just comes with confidence through clarity. And then training the whole team. So conversations don't depend only on the doctor or the optometrist or the optician. Your entire team has to be engaged, right? So everyone has to understand your scripts that you have. They may be different for your front desk. They may be different for the opticians. They may be different for the doctor. Everyone has to be on board with your SOPs around your packages and pricing. Make sure it's very clear. Everyone should be trained on what empowerment language means. consistent, short, clear. This is what I recommend. This is what most patients benefit from, and they often feel like this. Very, very important. And just the consistency. You got to hold somebody accountable to this. So you can recommend all these new, use this, use this. But if you don't have someone dedicated to following up and seeing if the results are actually being tracked and moving the needle, it won't go anywhere. It's going to fall flat. So consistency is really the key to build confidence over time. Okay, and now I'm going to go over this platform. I usually go over this platform through my talks. So this is Pulse IQ Solutions. It is a eye care intelligence platform that I created because I just had a lot of pain points that I wanted to get through, and none of the solutions were really offered in the marketplace. So it is a training KPI dashboard, employee goals, and rewards and recognition platform all in one. So one place. And thank you for those that have signed up for demoing the program. If you haven't had a chance yet, please sign the QR code and we'll get to you soon to onboard. But this is a tool that really makes things easy and simplified for us. So most clinics fail because they don't track consistently. No one's following up. So Pulse IQ is really an operating system for growth. It gives you the real-time dashboard for your data that you want to track for your business. So we can custom code. If you want to track your transitions, if you want to track your progressives or your myopia management, we can make custom mapping of that from your EMR so that you've picked your 3 winners for the year that you want to grow with and track. It has a built-in AI assistant and coach that can pull the data. So if you've set a goal and you're under goal, it will tell your staff what to do and how to get there. So it's a very smart AI coach, and it takes the guessing to clear goals and accountability. So these are really the frameworks that I've used to really grow our practices over the last couple of years. We were doing it very fragmented. And now that we've combined it all, we've really been able to, well, the past couple of years, we've grown more than double digits year over year, 29%, 15 to 20%. And we've done it just through this. And this is some examples of the training and the videos that I set because it was just driving me nuts retraining people and all the new hires that we have. So I just sat down, we created AI avatars here. And so we have role-based training. So different modules for front desk, different modules for optometric assistants, different modules for opticians, for associate ODs, for owners, for managers and owners. So you can imagine something like marketing or how to run financial reports or how to hire for growth. Those will be in the owners and the managers section versus how to troubleshoot, optical adjustments or problems. So because these are small things that really can burn you out in the day-to-day, repeating yourself. And so that's why I spent a whole lot of time creating a repository of the training here. And we have more training to come. So we're adding industry partners in here. We may be partnering with some ophthalmology where they will be providing glaucoma, like a section on medical training in here for doctors. And just it's not CE and it's not it's not a full course. It's just 3-minute little videos to train and keep you uptrained. And there are worksheets and multiple choice quizzes. So if you're a doctor and owner, you can assign your staff to these. And if you're ready to take action, you can take a screenshot here, or it'll be in your worksheet that will be sent to you after as well. You can get a free resource, and we will be offering an extended free trial for the first, I believe it's going to be the first 10 people that sign up. You're going to get an extended free trial of the software, and it's really just there. We just want to make sure that you grow your practices with ease and that we can save you some time and that you can do it effortlessly without burning out. Okay, so that's that. Back to the topic at hand, a final reminder. We're not selling, right? We don't push and we don't withhold, right? Our patients deserve to know their options. Really, really important. Before I conclude, I'm just going to share one story about somebody that I know, a friend of mine that was seeing a practitioner in a city nearby. and her son was going to her, and his prescription, and it's her only son, so she's obsessed about her son. And her son had developed myopia, and the practitioner had, all the bells and whistles under her toolkit. She had access to glasses and contacts, but she was not probably comfortable or skilled in that. So she had recommended a certain set of glasses for her child. Now, this person is my friend, right? And so she knows all I do is talk about myopia management and Ortho-K and MICE and all this stuff. So she knows. And then we also have friends from different cities who see different practitioners who have also gotten Ortho-K as treatment. So she went back there and she said, is there a reason why, we got the glasses, we followed the protocol, but, is there a reason why you didn't recommend this for me? Like, I'm really kind of, wondering, and I'm actually a little upset because after she did some investigating and digging, some of her friends went straight to Ortho-K, and, some of them, so they never had to get glasses, and that's what she really wanted. And the practitioner, I felt so bad. And I usually don't get in the middle when people have complaints. I don't say anything, but this is what she's saying to me. And she said, I'm really upset. I went back to the practitioner and I said to her, was it because I'd always come in jogging pants and I wasn't dripped in Chanel that you made that choice for me, thinking that I could not afford Ortho-K for my child, that you thought it was too expensive? Because she said, I thought it was too expensive to recommend as a treatment option. And, she was just so upset. And all it was is her son went from 0 to -1. So it might not have been even that necessary to go that route. But this is just how the mom felt, right? Like she just wasn't offered. And she went and told that optometrist that you stole that choice from me. You made that choice for me. You didn't allow me to make that choice. And so that was a really rude awakening story. And I just felt like, wow, she is right. We should be recommending everything we have to anybody and everyone, all your options, and have a conversation around that, right? You may then say, I might just, glasses are perfectly fine. Let's see again in 6 months. If you progress, maybe then we can go to a contact, right? But make sure you just have that conversation and don't prejudge someone based on the cost of something and the price of something. Because the more you do that, you are withholding information from someone. And I think as practitioners, we do it all the time. But yeah, so I hope that today's lesson was great. If anybody has any questions, please let me know in the chat group. I hope that GPT generator can be useful, a good tool. I think, another thing I also hear when I do a lot of talks is that my staff, like, okay, if your staff is not on board, this is a leadership problem. So this is, like I hear a lot of my friends, they say, oh, we don't open on Saturday past 3 because my staff doesn't want to stay till 6. And I keep thinking, so your staff is dictating your schedule, your business decisions, but you're responsible to give them a pay raise and provide opportunity and grow the business and deal with inflation and costs and putting technology in and getting technology adopted. And you're having this resistance. So you really, that comes to me back to a leadership thing, and we'll come to leadership modules in the future, but think about that, like who's in charge and who should be empowering the decisions. And that's when I think you need to start having some different conversations about who you are, what's your 3-year vision, who you want to become, and are they with you or not? Okay, here's a question. Have you made like a manual procedure for your team to follow every step of your script? No manuals, just small. Actually, yeah, we do have manuals for things, not a big manual for scripts. I use AI a lot. So we have small things, and we have trainers that go in and kind of spot train people. So some of my best sales leads, I had them go in and train and do role play. But we do have scripts, and everybody knows what they need to say, but not a huge manual. But that's a good idea. With AI, that can be done in like an hour, especially with the script generator. So all the products that you have. So I try not to put too much on their plate. Like how I do it is I focus on just a few things at a time until it becomes habit. So for example, we really focused on our OCT scans. We really value this and we want our patients to get it, and axial scans for kids. So we worked on scripts with that, and we just focused on those. And so, yes, I did generate scripts for that, and I would consistently, repeatedly post it in our chat group. Try this. Don't forget to say this. Cancellations. Here are scripts for this. What to say, what not to say. So it does take a lot of training. But this is where inside Pulse IQ, I've kind of have it all down there now. So you have a lots of scripts depending on what conversations we want to have. Yeah, we do. I would pick, maybe focus on the way I would do it, because it can be a lot overwhelming. I would pick one thing. I would pick your low-hanging fruit, and I would pick something that is going to generate the most revenue to your clinic, and focus on that, and focus on the scripts, and start measuring and monitoring the progress on that. And once that becomes a successful cycle, you then celebrate, you reward it, you share it with your team. Now they have the confidence, and then you just repeat it again with another revenue stream. And that's how you do it. You just keep doing it in the same cycle. Because too much at one point can really overburden. So I would start with just one or two small things you want to work on. And it does take time. It takes months, for these things to become habit. And to get everybody to get the needle moving. Any other questions? But I think it's really important that you start with the mindset before you just start throwing scripts at people, because they need to, regardless of what you say, you got to get the belief and the why into people for that energy. I mean, there's more than just scripts to follow. So for example, I have scripts for my call center, but I get really annoyed if they're just following script and they're not treating the person like a human. That's not how we want to treat people. So the tone, how you say it, really matters. So scripts are one thing, but you got to make it your own. So I don't want it to be word for word copied. This is a general thing. Put it in your own words so it's coming authentically from you. And then let's role play and let's see, and we can give you feedback. That's how we do that. Yeah, GPT, like AI. AI really moved the needle for my business with scripts. It would take me forever to come up with scripts. Now, AI would be your easiest thing. I've been using AI for the last 2.5 years now, and it has been wonders. Yeah. But again, you don't want it to be robotic, like tone, and just try to find a way to make it authentically. And you got to role play and then give kind of tips as to how to change that as well. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, play around with the GPT generator, give it to your team, see if they, like, if someone's having, trouble and they say, they give you an excuse, or, you'll hear always like a defensive response, like, oh, it doesn't happen in this location, people won't pay money. Like I get those objections all the time. Okay, challenge them and then just get them to, well, what is the objection that you're coming across? Oh, it's too expensive. Okay, let's come across some scripts to help you with those objections, right? There's always an opportunity, and you have to really first start overcoming those beliefs and mindset patterns. For example, we would hear that for years at one of my clinics. So we operate between Sherway and Hamilton, and people believe that in the Hamilton location, they don't have enough funds to pay for stuff like a Sherway or an Oakville would. Well, we got a doctor from Toronto that came to our location in Hamilton, and because she really believed in OCT scans, she was recommending it left, right, and center. Now, it wasn't for the money or the compensation. It's because she just believed, she just wanted it. Like, she thought it was so valuable for her patients, and people were paying. And we thought, what's going on here? We thought that, people didn't want to pay and they would say no. So, and now that location is one of our highest performing locations, because we have people that strongly believe in it and that are really good in sales and have a really good team there. So they're owning it. So Don't believe that, just because you're in a certain location, people don't have the funds. This is where I compare corporations to, like you have, like we're with a LensCraft, you have a LensCraft, you have a Hakim, but there's still, like LensCrafters does not change their pricing from Sherway to Hamilton. It's the same price, but it's the brand and the reputation and the value. People are coming because they expect a certain level of service, and that's what you've established for yourself. So don't ever sell yourself short. If that is your brand identity and you're with, somebody who is recommending that, stick to that. Don't try to say people don't go for these products there, because it's not true, because in each market, there's always going to be a difference of, premium, and then the majority of your patients and people that go, that are more cost conscious. So I always challenge you. And I always share that story with everybody, because when I do talks, I get a lot of that feedback and rejection, but that is a objection you have to overcome yourself internally. When you told us you have packages, yeah. So we have simple packages. So like for contact lenses, we have subscriptions. We have yearly. Yeah, like I think, so for us, we just have basic and, add-on. So we kind of treat it in sales, it's like an upsell, but it's really just your basic and your comprehensive. And it really works. You keep it simple, because as soon as you add a third, it's just too confusing and you're going to get a no. So as soon as you say, oh, is this for a contact lens and this and this and this, it's hard to get more from that patient. So it's easier if you just bundle services based on the need and have 2 packages. Yeah, we do. 2 different treatments for your packages. Yes. So for dry eye, for example, we will have our, starter, this, or you can go for the whole thing and, get the whole package for the premium treatment, or you can start with this drop, which is like a regular, or you can have a premium drop, which is much better. This is what I recommend, because your eyes are very uncomfortable. Yes. And then we have like even higher end solutions for patients that want that higher end. Or let's say for myopia management, we have packages like for the different treatment options, and they're priced all differently. And then I usually narrow it down to 2. I don't give them all 4. I say these are the 2 I recommend. This is the efficacy. This is for this, and this is the other. You can pick one. It works much better than offering the whole menu. So you may have a list of different packages, yeah, but you can just narrow it down to 2 that you may recommend. Any other questions? I hope that's helpful, but really it begins with you, the owner. You really got to ignite your team. You have to have meetings with them. You have to be able to share the vision of where you want to go. Right now is the best time to plan for 2026. We will not have a call for December, but we will have one in January. And I didn't share that just yet because we don't have the date and time yet, but typically it's the 3rd Tuesday around this time. So we'll probably set that up soon. And so right now, if you have some time, I know it's getting really busy already, but take the time, take some time away from the clinic and the practice, and really sit down and do some vision crafting and figure out what your goals are going to be for 2026. Start planning for it so that you can make it a great idea. Oh, thank you guys. Best of luck. Start using them. You're going to get a whole lot of people now till the end of the year. Pick one thing and I really want to hear some success stories. Usually what happens is people come to all of these events and then they just do nothing with it the next morning. It happens to me. I go to conferences and then I don't write anything down and I don't implement, then it never gets implemented. But if I have it fresh in my mind and I just tell myself, or I tell my husband, I'm going to do this tomorrow, or if I bring my office manager with me, we're going to do this first thing the next day, then I'm held accountable. Then I will do it, right? I'm going to, okay, I said I was going to do this. Let's do this. But if you wait on it and you don't take action, it just never gets implemented. So really pick something small, your easiest low-hanging fruit on a topic you really want to address. Let's just get some scripts out, do some role playing. I'm sure you can win it throughout the end of the year. And you're going to see a whole lot of people coming in to use your benefits. The time is now. And once you get that success, it's going to carry the momentum into the next year. You're going to feel unstoppable for what you can accomplish. All right, guys. So we're going to close. We'll see you again in the new year. So best of luck. If you have any questions, you have my email me. I'm happy to chat. Anything you need, please reach out. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.